Hey everybody, it's Justin from the Camera Shop in Muskegon, and I know we didn't have this planned, but sometimes the best things happen either by chance or just kind of off the cuff. And I always do good off the cuff, but I am here with Olympus Visionary Tracie Maglosky. Tracie, thank you so much for joining us at short notice. I know I got a hold of you just the other day to do this. How are you? How's Ohio?
Good, doing great, and no problem. I love it. I'm excited to do this, and I'm really excited about this coming weekend.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know what we have, what we're talking about with this coming weekend is we're conducting our PhotograpHER event, which is celebrating women in photography, and we planned on doing it this last April, but as all good things that happened this year, 2020 left us with many surprises, and COVID-19 struck, and so we're actually doing the event here in September. And we're actually doing it virtually, and I'm so thankful that you are able to join us yet again this year, Tracie, to bring us a lot of excitement and classes and learning.
Yes, that event last year was one of my favorite events. It was so much fun, and it was packed, and I'm really looking forward to packing out online this year too.
Yeah, it looks like things are going pretty well online so far. I know we've got a lot of how do you say that? Registrants, people who are joining us. So it's this was just kind of to get out in front of it a little bit, kind of let anyone know who might be tuning in that we've got this going on this weekend. But before we get into kind of the details on that, Tracie, I just want for people who didn't join us last year, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into photography, and what drives your passion in this field?
Sure. So I started in photography mostly because I have children, and I'm one of those moms with the camera. When my oldest son was born, one of the gifts that I got at my baby shower was actually a camera.
Hot
And
dog.
the person who got that for me had no idea what they were doing. But so anyways, I started taking pictures of him, and it wasn't long before I started putting him in little costumes and probably driving him absolutely crazy. This is why he hates getting his pictures taken today, I guarantee you. But it started off kind of like that, and then before long, people were asking me to take pictures of their kids, and then they were asking me how much it cost for me to do that, and I was getting asked for print releases, and I had no idea what that was. So it kind of organically happened for me, but it all started just by being a mom and knowing that I wanted to capture memories, and so then before long, I was crazy enough to open a studio, and I moved to a bigger studio, and it's all history from there. Crazy.
And that's a great story, because I know a lot of our customers last year when we did our business class that you hosted, I think we had at least 40, 50 people in house to listen to that. And I know that's where a lot of people are. They kind of start out because they're photographing their kids, or they photograph their kids in sports. And again, it just kind of naturally grows from there. And it's so nice to hear that's how you got started, that it was a gift, for your baby shower. And then, who knew that they'd be starting a revolution, with doing that. So it's so great to hear that story and that background, and that you've been able to grow it into a successful business, and that you've been tapped to be, an Olympus visionary, and being able to share your knowledge with the Olympus world and the photographic world in general.
Yeah, tell you, that was like highly unexpected. I didn't come into photography thinking, wow, I'm gonna be sponsored by a bunch of different companies and have a bunch of different stuff kick off. That was not my intention coming in. I literally just at the beginning was just trying to make memories for myself and then for other people, and then eventually it grew into something much more passionate about making art and growing a business that became an art for me too, and making money from photography, which is, I know a lot of people don't like to talk about, but I love talking about money, because for me, photography is a great vehicle to make money, and there's so much money to be made in this industry. And so I think when they start talking about money and photography, because they're two of my favorite things.
Money and photography. Well, I don't think I think you're going to have a lot of fans on this end. I mean, it's I think we could all use a little more money, right? But it's
Sure.
nice, But photography is just I mean, it's my passion, and I'm glad again to have you to join us for this. And I just want to kind of quickly kind of ask. Because I know I've seen this a lot lately, like last year going into this year, there's been an emphasis on it with a lot of the photographic blogs that I've read. And again, the PhotograpHER event is celebrating women in photography. And I just kind of wanted real quick for a little bit of insight, because I know we're really short on time. You've got a shoot that you have to get to. But can you tell us why it's important to put an emphasis on women in the photographic community, or celebrating women in photography, why that's kind of in the forefront of everyone's mind kind of in the last couple years? If you can kind of, I don't know if you can put a ribbon on that, or kind of help me bake that cake a little bit here.
Sure. I mean, from a personal perspective, I think that the importance lies in the future as well as not just the past. And a lot of times there's emphasis about like, oh, it's been a male-dominated industry for so many years and all this other stuff. And although that's true, I think that what we're seeing, the shift that we're seeing in general in the world, is a shift of hope for future generations, so that a little girl can be a photographer or a president or anything that she wants to be, same as a little boy. And hopefully what we're not doing is saying that one is more important than the other, but we're just saying, hey, both are super important. You could be anything that you want to be. And so for all of my girlfriends out there who are starting off in photography or whatever, or any field, all we're doing is just carving out a path so that it's possible and celebrated, no matter what, anything about your background or, your gender or anything else can keep you from doing what you love and what you're passionate about. That's really what this movement is about. And it's also, I'll just tell a story. That's the best way, I think, to always get a point across. We shoot weddings as well. And my counterpart, husband, best friend is Tony, and he's a male, obviously, my husband. But so if we're at a wedding shooting together, often if there's a question, it's directed toward him, and it's just those little things. It's like, this business is in my name and I'm a photographer, but often the questions get directed toward him just because he's a man. So it's just like a little shift. It's not a giant thing and it doesn't really bother me per se, but it's nice to know that people are kind of paying attention now and saying, hey, women and men are capable of doing anything that they want to do if they put their minds to it.
And that's a really great message to convey to everyone, is that, what I try to aim to do here at the store is try to arm people with the right information and the right gear so that they can pursue the passion, our mutual passion, which is photography, and just give them the right tools and the right, guide them on the right path so that they can go fulfill whatever dreams or goals they have with that craft. And I think that's a great message. Now, I do want to say real quick, when you're talking about kind of Tony getting the direction of getting asked some of those questions, does he ever kind of give them just that quick look where he doesn't say anything and he just kind of points in that direction? Like, you need to talk to her.
We never punish anyone for their lack of knowledge about what's really going on. But I think he's really good at kind of deflecting and saying, you'll probably want to talk to Tracy because she's the one in charge or whatever. And we don't try to make people feel stupid, but we do kind of make the awareness kind of out there so that people can know. And, it's kind of fun. I think it's good to kind of break that mold and to be the person who's getting to do that a little bit. And I feel like I've been so lucky to come into photography and kind of find my footing with it at the time that I did, because I'm super on board with, like, this isn't a competitive field. Like, I know everyone thinks it is, but this isn't a competitive field. There's room for everyone. And so if you're looking for encouragement, you're going to find it from me.
Yeah. So. And the great opportunity to find that encouragement wasn't just last year, but, again, going back to this year, we've got a lot of great events coming up. And can you tell us a little bit about those? Like, what we can expect what we have going on? Because I think we have you for what, Friday and Saturday? We have some classes.
Yes.
What can you tell us about those?
So Friday night, we're doing posing couples. If you haven't seen a posing class from me before, you definitely want to come, because it's very, I will say that I'm funny, even though I'm telling you that because other people say I'm funny. I'm never intentionally trying to be funny, but I say things in a way that will make you remember them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we all have that same struggle when we get out there in the field and we're shooting. We do a couple poses and then we get lost. Like, what am I supposed to do next? So this is a great way to just kind of remember how to stay in the flow and get the work out of the way so you can have more fun. Because let's be honest, that's what we're all in this for, is to like enjoy ourselves and get creative. So that's what that first class will be about. I do want to say that like all the classes that we're going to do this weekend are completely interactive. So I won't just be doing a presentation and showing you a slideshow. And this is out of the box for me, so I'm getting really creative and taking a risk here because a lot could go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually going to have, like, I love when things can go wrong, because just as much possibility as there are things to go wrong, there's a possibility things could go right. So you guys are seeing me take a giant risk, and I'm making myself completely vulnerable. We will have live models in the studio. I will be live shooting and posing with you. You will be like you are in a class with us. Just like if I were there, and you'll be able to ask questions live, and I will be answering them live. We're taking all the chances. This could be a total disaster. It's so exciting.
But you know, there's you know, the good old saying, there's no risk, no reward without risk, or no risk with reward, or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for it. But you know, but there's always that other saying that anything that can go wrong will. But we'll hold our fingers crossed for that one.
You know what? We're all used to that. It's 2020, man. Yeah. We know how to navigate some serious disaster, right? We're good at that now.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, if what doesn't kill you just makes you stronger, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's if this could be the smallest of things that happens in 2020.
Exactly. And you know, so Saturday, same thing. We're doing 3 separate classes on Saturday.
Okay, so Saturday's the day. Friday's just getting us warmed up.
Friday is just practice, man. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. And I know that's kind of early. I guess in 2020, that's early. But that's kind of the one that I think no one wants to miss, because this is called, this class is High Impact Portraits. We're going with, I'm not going to give everything away, but we are going with a themed shoot. And I'm just going to tell you, it's seasonally flavored toward Halloween. There will be some special effects, and we will be shooting it live, and I will be doing some interesting, risky things during that live shoot, and you'll all be able to be a part of that, and I'm going to be asking for opinions, and we're going to build it together so that you can see how to take a regular old portrait and change it into something mind-blowing. So that's the goal for that class at 10 a.m.
That sounds like
it's going to be a blast. Drink coffee, though.
Yeah, I was going to ask, can we bring snacks?
Yeah, bring snacks, drink coffee, and come ready to have a good time. Now, right after that, in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, the next class that we're teaching is, it is transitioning from natural light to strobe. So if you have struggled with strobe photography, whether it's flash or a studio strobe, and this is all of us. So by the way, if you are struggling to transition from natural light to strobe photography, it's normal. And I like to say everyone starts out a natural light photographer. Whether people like to call themselves that or not at the beginning, it's true. We all start out that way. This is about the language of light. It's about understanding how you can still make your portraits look like your portraits, but not depend on the natural light to necessarily be present. So this isn't like taking light and making crazy things. It's getting a natural look with strobes and transitioning from natural light.
Can I interrupt real quick? And is it more of a blending, you're balancing the two, or is it trying to make the strobe look more like your natural light?
Well, it's probably going to be a little bit of both, because what we're going to do is we're going to start off using just window light.
Okay.
and see what that light looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where a natural light photographer is most comfortable. And then we're going to say, let's eliminate that light
Mm-hmm.
and let's make that light with a strobe and see if we can mimic that from the window light right over into the strobe photography with no ambient light whatsoever. So that if the sun doesn't come out that day, you're not totally screwed. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we get like a half an hour break because you guys are total slave drivers. And after that half an hour break, we're going to go into single light portraits. And it may sound similar, but it's not similar at all. We're going to see how many different lighting setups we can get out of just a single light. Most photographers who are just beginning or in that beginning phase of, using strobe photography don't have a full setup. They're not using 3, 4, 5 lights. That stuff's really fun. I love doing that. But the reality is most of us are rocking one light when we go out for our shoots. So that class is going to be about taking that one light and learning how to use that light to create depth and dimension and how to get really good light language out of just one light.
So maximizing one flash is essentially what that last one boils down to.
Yeah.
And what time does that one start?
That is a 2:30 start time.
I guess I could do the math, right? Take a half hour after. After
each of these is an hour, right? So that's not too bad. 1 hour commitment of your life, each of these classes. I promise, as I always do in the front of every class that I teach, you'll not be bored for sure. There's a lot of exciting things that will happen. You'll not leave uninspired, and I promise not to waste your time.
Yeah, and you've even, I mean, I'm going to be there just kind of naturally as not like a co-host. I'm just kind of there to kind of introduce or whatever ends up like emceeing to some extent.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick around because I mean, from what I was able to glean from last year, because I was kind of busy at the front counter, this is going to give me an opportunity that I get to sit in on the class. And I went to school for all this, but this is going to help with a refresh. And there were some great things I learned from your posing class last year, where it's just like you can do 5 things from like, let's build from this one kind of pose. And you're just like, oh, turn this way, turn that way. And just how many little things you can do from one setup. And it's very similar to what they kind of teach you in the principles of lighting is kind of you start small, work big, where you add one light and then you add another light and then another light. So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm really looking forward to this Friday and Saturday.
I'm really excited. And, we're prepping the studio. You guys will get to see the studio a little bit. I'm actually in the studio right now. This is our newborn room. I don't know if you can kind of see back there. This is
it's really nice and bright.
My wraps and blankies and stuff, and that's my posing beanbag and stuff. But this is just the small newborn room. We'll be in the larger space inside the studio.
Okay.
I'll show you guys around. You'll love it. And the models that I have are the bomb. So we are having different models for each class, which is really nice. You won't get bored of faces except mine. Sorry about that. And then and then we'll have different models, and they're going to be in different costuming, and it is going to be a lot of fun.
It sounds really, really exciting. And just real quick, the Friday class, that starts when for everyone?
4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, so 4:30 Eastern Time, and that's going to be your posing workshop that we're doing.
Yep.
That we're going to be doing with live models in a live studio, all crazy stuff. Sounds super exciting. And then Saturday, we're going to have you from 10 a.m. to, these are all an hour?
All an hour.
Okay, so 10 to 11, high impact portraits, which again, doing something very similar to the posing, but you promise something big. It's like costuming and theatrics. It sounds really exciting. And then 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., we have transitioning from natural light to studio strobe. And we're going to take a 30-minute break. So it's going to be like the old school movies, right? Like Lawrence of Arabia, you're going to get that half-hour intermission.
Get your popcorn.
To get your popcorn. And more snacks,
Yep.
More coffee. And 2:30 to, I assume, 3:30 for single light portraits.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm looking forward to it. I will probably end up, and again, I can't thank you enough, Tracie, for doing this last minute with us today. It's so good to see you.
You too.
before you go, because I kind of promised kind of like that 4:30 mark, we wouldn't go beyond a half hour. What is like one kind of good morsel or like thing to kind of fuel the passion pump of fuel people up and gin up excitement for what's coming up on Friday and Saturday?
So listen, like right now we're in a world where information, if you really want it, is pretty readily available to you, but usually there's a price tag attached. The awesome thing about what Camera Shop and Olympus are doing in this weekend's classes is that they're completely complimentary. That's pretty amazing. And you get to learn from the comfort of your own couch, right? And as I mentioned, anytime I teach a class, my commitment to every single person who's taking the time out of their lives to listen to me is that I promise you will not leave uninspired. And, that's because like I said at the beginning of this, I love photography and I love money, and time is money. And so I don't like wasting that at all. So I promise you that it will be worth your time. It'll be worth the investment, and you will have fun. You will have fun watching.
Good. Well, Tracie, don't go anywhere because we're going to have a few words after we close out here. But again, I want to thank you so very much for giving us some of your time before your shoot and being able to squeeze us in. And I look forward to Friday evening's class at 4:30 and seeing you right away Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
Can't wait. So excited. See you soon.
We'll see you soon. Everyone, take care in the meantime and have a great evening.